Welcome to Setting the Stage. I'm Brooke Savage. Mrs. Doubtfire is at the Dr. Phillips Center now through Sunday. We have Sheila Jones and Bianca Rivera-Irions here with us. They're both from Central Florida as well. So ladies, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So the first question I want to start out with, Sheila, I'll have you answer first, and then Bianca, you could answer. Where in Central Florida are you ladies from?
More the Polk County area, so Bartow, Lakeland area.
And then my dad lived in Winter Garden growing up, but I grew up in Tampa.
Okay, nice. And so how did you get into acting?
My dad's actually a pastor, so I grew up in the church singing. Surprise! So I grew up singing in the church and stuff, and then I went to Harrison School of the Arts down in Lakeland and started my training there, and then went to Florida State.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Started when I was 5 in ballet, and I didn't like the tights, but they had a musical theater class instead, so I took that, and I did that up into college, went to Boston Conservatory, and then started a tour.
Wow, I love that. I did ballet as well, and I definitely preferred musical theater, not going to lie. And how do you think Central Florida played a role in starting your acting career? As I'm doing Setting the Stage, I'm learning more and more that Central Florida could be a launching pad for people wanting to get into acting.
Yeah,
for sure. I feel like there are so many art schools here specifically, and that is where I got so much nurturing, you know, like their community theater, all that kind of stuff. So it's such a rich community in the arts, and it's very well supported. So it's nice.
Some of the best performing venues in the country are in Tampa and Orlando. So you have so many opportunities to see so many touring shows, which is really great for people to have access. And that's how I got my inspiration in like new musical theater was to begin with.
Love it. And how do you represent Central Florida on a national stage?
Showing up. Yeah. Go to work. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
I do a lot of social media, just making sure that we let people know, like, hey, we're from here. I go back to like the programs that I trained at, teaching master classes, going and speaking, just making sure that I'm like, hey, like, let's build these programs up. That's really what I do.
Wow, that's awesome. And how did you land your roles in the show?
I auditioned. We had several rounds of auditions in New York. So my very first one, I love this story so much. Almost didn't make it, babe. My very first one was a dance call, and I did poorly. Like, I did not know the choreography. And then they called my name afterwards, and I was literally shocked. And then the next auditions after that, they were like, hey, you do need to do better. We like you, but you do need to do better. I was like, I know. So eventually, dreams came true. And here we are. I did better.
I had just finished my last tour, Pretty Woman, and I had a self-tape due. I had one day to film the self-tape because I was going somewhere. It was like the last week of tour. And then they called me back to New York, and I did one round of dance call, tap dancing, and I was in to swing and cover Wanda. And then they looked at me and went, nope, you're going to be in to cover swing and cover Janet. And I went in and read scene sides, sang for the flamenco singer, and then I found out in June that I got it.
That's awesome.
Here we are.
And what made you both want to audition for Mrs. Doubtfire? It's such a unique show.
Yeah, I like being employed. So that is the first step of being employed. I didn't really have any connection to the project aside from the movie, you know. So that was the draw in for me.
One of the sides that I received for the flamenco singer, it was all in Spanish at the time. It got rewritten for this production, and I was like, I felt really connected to it. I'm Spanish and Puerto Rican, so I was like, this is really exciting. So that's really why I ended up going in for it.
And how long have you been on tour, and what's your day-to-day life like?
We have been on tour. We were in rehearsals in August, and so we hit the road in September. We will be on the road for 52 weeks. And day to day, it really just depends. I am so grateful for the luxury of daytime and being able to have several hours to just do what I need to do. A lot of the times it's reading or laying outside, maybe doing some yoga outside and stuff. Lots of writing. I have also been in another course for an intimacy doula. So keeping my mind sharp and finding out other things that I enjoy and nurturing those other things. So That's day to day.
And we both came off of
Tacos.
tours before this, so we've been
Wow.
touring for a long time. Same thing, just enjoying the days and finding ways to fill them. A lot of stuff for the show too. Like I know that we do different like master classes. We'll do and do like visits at different like local theaters or hospitals, and that kind of fills the week for me.
And what do you like about touring? Because I have to imagine being away from home for so long can get exhausting. Like, so talk about both. What are the pros and cons?
I'll let you have this
Go
one.
first. Okay. What I like about touring is a lot of places that I would never have gone or been on my bucket list to go see in the United States, or even like my last tour I went to Canada. So places I didn't think I was ever going to get to. It's really cool to explore those communities. What is so difficult is you miss so much. Family events, I've missed weddings, funerals, graduations. My partner in New York, he is like, please come back. And he's been gone for 2 years. So that is the hardest part. Also, the physical toll of flying every week and switching hotels, not having kitchens, that kind of thing does take a toll on the body and the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think similarly too, what I like about tour is I don't have a home base yet. I'm contemplating going back to New York City, but also I don't have to do that. So this tour or being on tour helps me see other cities and be like, oh, I like San Diego. Am I going to live in San Diego? Am I moving to Mexico? So just being able to have a taste of, the U.S. and stuff. It is an expensive lifestyle, like on the body, on the spirit, So finding ways to just stay grounded has been a challenge. But these are the things that I like less about tour, needing to find.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives. I really appreciate it. And talk to us about what it takes to be in the show, like to prepare for a performance, because I don't think many people think about like how the physical toll it probably takes on you to like perform that often and like every night, basically.
The physical toll. What does it take to?
Do you do stretches beforehand
Absolutely.
and all that stuff?
Definitely do a warm up. I am one of the older dancers in the ensemble, so I have to be way more conscious about like what I do to my body and what I put in it. So definitely do a warm up. Do a little prayer, whatever, and twirl on out.
Beautiful. Yeah. Because I cover 6 different roles, it depends on who I'm going on for and when I get told that I'm going on for. So if I have the ample amount of time, like maybe I have an hour or 2, then I'll go and do my full warm-up. So depending on the role, I'll vocally warm up if I have to sing solos or something like that. If it is like one of the speaking characters, I'll run through my lines. If I'm told that I have 5 minutes to get in hair and makeup, there's no prep. I grab this little book that has all my notes for that track and I run on stage. Or if it's mid-show, I just like have to trust myself. And that's how I prepare.
Yeah, which has happened.
It has
gone
3 times.
Wow. And so you talked about a little bit about how you're playing multiple roles.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize also as part of the ensemble, you're understudying so many characters, you have to memorize so many lines. How do you guys do that?
Yeah.
Lots of practice, I guess, taking the time to do it. Having great scene partners, I think, too, is really helpful. And being supported outside of.
Yeah. I have, for each track that I cover, I have little color-coded binders where I put like little notes or like lines I want to run through, and that's kind of how I keep myself organized. And then when everyone else is doing the show, like I wasn't on last night, so I could sit there and run through the track that I know I'm going to be on for this weekend. So just keeping up with that repetition. We have rehearsals. The ensemble and swings have a lot of rehearsals outside of the shows, and just keeping up with that and just keeping in your brain. It's a muscle. You got to practice. Right?
Exactly. And I talked to you a little bit about this before the interview. Can you tell us about how many costume changes do you guys have in this show?
So many. I've never counted, but at least like 10, at least
10.
At least 10.
And depending on who you are too. So yeah, at least 10. I think the most in the ensemble I have is like maybe 11 because there's an extra feature. Yeah, a lot. But like our lead is 33.
So.
In general, a lot of quick changes.
Yes.
Sheila, you were saying that basically when you're not on stage, you're doing a quick change,
Yeah.
right? So do you even have any downtime backstage during a show?
During Act 2, that's where a lot of the downtime happens. I bring a book, and like sometimes I sit and read, but there's not a lot of time to sit and read.
Yeah.
So we find those pockets of rest.
Yeah. And then if you both could play any other role in the show, who would you be and why?
Ooh.
Natalie? One of the kids?
One of the kids.
Sounds fun.
Chris sounds fun. He's got this vocal line that we all sing backstage. It's fresh new paint, and we love it. We give it all our heart. Probably one of the kids.
Yeah, either that or, honestly, I would do like a Janet Lundy.
She's great. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
She's really fun, and the flamenco is also really fun.
Oh, yes, I love the flamencos part.
Yeah.
And, speaking of favorite parts of the show, what's your favorite part of the show?
Let me see. I feel like it rotates. Whatever
It
just
does.
seems easiest that day. For a little while, it was easy peasy. Can you believe that? Yeah,
Okay.
that's the tap number. I don't know what it is today. Let's go with the easy peasy.
I love La Rosa because in every track there's something happening, and it's also one of the few times that the ensemble gets to stop dancing and just like be with each other, and everyone has picked some like creative characters that like aren't in the script but they've created for themselves, and it's really fun to see what they're coming up with every night.
I was thinking about that. I was like paying attention to the background actors, especially during the gym scene.
Yes.
I was wondering if anyone told them to do all the like gym stuff, or if that was like them creating their own characters.
I think that was choreographed.
Both yes and no.
Okay.
So there's like parts that were like, okay, you're gonna stand over here and you're gonna lift weights. But then there's the guy that does the longest plank I've ever seen in the back, which I don't think he was told to do the plank. I think it was just like, make it workouty.
I love the Pilates.
The Pilates.
my
That's
most
great.
favorite.
There are so many good parts, not gonna lie, about the show that where I feel like they put what I'm thinking into a musical. For example, the cooking scene. I feel like we could all relate to cooking and then reading a menu and then trying to figure out one thing and then trying to figure out another, and then an ad pops up. So I just love, that was one of my favorite parts, not gonna lie.
That's fun.
And how do you feel about the overall message of the show that, there's different types of families? How do you relate to that?
I love that the message that they are trying to send is really about love, because at the core of relationship, that is the core of the thing, So I love singing All You Need Is, not All You Need Is Love. What is the song that we sing?
Love Will Lead You Home?
Yeah, something like that.
What is it actually called?
I can't remember.
Wow.
Right now. We do the show, I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that love is at the core of this whole thing.
As long as there's love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God.
And I love that message. I think that's really important. I know as my parents have been going through their divorce in the last year, it's been helping me process it and seeing it out. And I can't imagine if you're bringing kids to the show, someone's young, seeing themselves represented up on stage and the different types of families, and really accepting that and embracing that and really sharing the message of love, I think is really important. And it's also really cool to tour it because we're getting to so many different theaters and communities that could use that message of love throughout the country.
Exactly. And Bianca, you mentioned how you're going to different communities. I noticed Dr. Phillips Center they're doing a master class this week. You said you're a little bit involved in the master classes in different communities. Tell us a little bit more about that.
The masterclass here is going to be a hair and makeup workshop with our currently head of makeup and hair, who's leaving this week. And it's really cool that we have these different masterclasses that aren't always just acting and singing. So there's so many other people involved in this production, and there's especially the Doubtfire wigs and the changes. So Jake is going to demonstrate how we prep our hair for wigs, which people may not have seen, how we put the mic in, any questions about We get face plots for whatever character we're playing and what the makeup looks like. I've done a master class where I teach part of the dances from the show, which is always really cool because then people go see in the show, they're like, I know that.
And then get up and dance.
Yeah, do it yourself. And then we also do things in the community, like we're doing a hospital visit. We like go into children's hospitals. We'll go sing. We'll do arts and crafts with the kids. A lot of those things. It's really cool to get to like immerse yourselves in the communities that are coming to see you.
I love that. Is there anything else you ladies want to mention about the show or any behind the scenes things you want people to know about that they might not know?
I think so. Not for me.
I think maybe mentioning our crew. We have a wonderful crew, and this show has so many technical elements with the chicken dropping from the sky or just the boobs being on fire in the kitchen scene. It's like a dance backstage. And a lot of people don't realize it or notice it necessarily, but we have an amazing crew and this would not go up without them.
I actually would like to update my answer on what my favorite part is because it's actually a backstage thing. It's the traffic during our opening number. I don't know why I like it so much, but it just feels very precise. And it's like, if I don't move this way, then, you know. So the backstage traffic is actually my favorite part of the show, which is weird.
Wait, I never thought about the backstage traffic, how you have to choreograph that too, about where you're going to be and when backstage.
And changes too, like who's getting their wig first, who's doing a change first, who's with this person, who's getting their props at this time from which shelf. It's all choreographed.
Wow, and I never thought about it. The crew travels with you guys, right?
A lot of them. We also have locals, which is cool too. Right. So we'll have like locals, people doing our hair or dressing us that week, and some local deck people who will like move the sets. But we do have
And in the band as well, we travel 4 musicians on our own, and then we get local musicians too.
Which is really cool.
Wow, I love that. Well, again, Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, is at the Dr. Phillips Center now through Sunday. I'll also post the information on clickorlando.com/settingthestage.